Well, good morning and welcome to today's webinar, Small Business to Digital Business with MYOB Advanced. I'm Brett Mundell from Leverage Technologies, and I have with me virtually, of course, my colleague Dean West, our technical and subject matter expert for MYOB Advanced. He'll be taking us through some of the examples of capabilities of MYOB Advanced a little later in the presentation. Small to medium-sized businesses are the foundation of pre- and post-pandemic growth in Australia. And we want to demonstrate to you today digital transformation and the ability to use technology to help small to medium businesses grow. You're more than welcome to ask any questions as we move through the presentation. Please leave them in the Q&A panel at the Zoom meeting, and we'll address them at the end of the session. I'm going to begin with a few slides just to set the scene in terms of digital transformation and the digital economy. So let's talk about the steps you need to take inside your business to get a better understanding of the technologies available to execute on using technology to help your business grow. What we'd like to do is take you through today an ERP solution can address these challenges and bring you towards efficiency to promote growth while mitigating the typical challenges that businesses face in a changing, rapidly growing market. So change is the new normal. And nowhere is this more evident than right here, right now in Australia, in the middle of a pandemic. We're seeing teams of people working remotely. We're seeing e-commerce has become the new norm, and technology is at the forefront of almost everything that we do at the moment. So we'll explore a few themes today, including why doing nothing or waiting to invest in technology to drive change is a flawed approach, losing out on the opportunity costs associated with not providing change. Many people on this call and watching this video will understand the risks of outgrowing your current systems. We'll talk about multiple manual workarounds and a lack of good quality information for decision-making that I'm sure will resonate with people on the call. We'll talk about and show you how MYOB Advanced, a cloud-based solution, can get you started on the journey towards digital transformation to help your business grow. So in the digital economy, change is the new normal. We've come to expect that a number of merging technologies help us do more with less, give us greater productivity, improved cash flow, and better customer service, all at a reduced cost and time to implement, available in the cloud. So a lot of these technologies were previously only available to big business with large IT budgets, but are now available to smaller SMEs. So cloud is an enabler to this rapid cost-effective change across multiple technologies. For example, ERP, CRM, e-commerce, EDI, business intelligence. All of these technologies merge and are available at a fraction of the price they were previously available in the cloud. Mobility gives us access to the information that we want, where and when we want it. IoT and AI give us instant access to useful data and associated machine learning. And then business intelligence combines these factors into useful information across big data to help us with decision making. A number of businesses that we talk to are interested in these technologies. They're interested in cloud. They're interested in moving to an ERP application or CRM and integration across the platform, but very often do nothing. So let's discuss just very briefly why the do nothing approach is a flawed approach. Doing nothing costs money. Opportunity costs associated with doing nothing can be high as your competitors invest in technology and leapfrog your business with improved systems and access to better information. Basic accounting solutions work well for small businesses, but as your business grows and as you add additional users and your functional requirements grow, these entry-level accounting systems can hold you back. Implementing an ERP should be seen as an investment with an ROI, a return on investment from improved cash flow, better customer service, and access to timely data for decision-making. We should make decisions about ERP and investing in technology on the basis of business improvement. So what do you risk when you outgrow your current systems? And Leverage Technologies has worked on about 300 ERP implementations over the last 16 years. And what we found is that the common aspects that people all too often talk to us about are islands of information, manual workarounds, limited access to information for decision-making, and inhibitors to growth. I'm sure for a number of people on the call today, these are common themes across systems that you have outgrown and looking to move towards better, newer technology. So let's talk about these islands of information as one of the common themes that we hear about with companies that are outgrowing their current systems. Initially, it can be that it's manageable when you have islands of information. As the business grows, however, you tend to end up, these islands become these silos of data. And as the business grows, you might have workforce scheduling and timesheets sitting in one silo of information. Individual knowledge inside people's heads, inside their knowledge base, independent of the business systems, paper and spreadsheets. So multiple businesses we talk to have a number of reports and information that's sitting inside independent spreadsheets on people's personal drives, rather than in the cloud, rather than being accessible to everyone in the business. Warehousing and logistics, lead times, expiry dates, supplier relationships, all of this sitting again in a silo of information. CRM and sales team information about prospects, contacts. When a salesperson leaves the business, is that information available to the team, or is it sitting on a spreadsheet or information on the salesperson's laptop? Back office, finance, debtors across multiple locations. All of this sort of information, product and engineering and compliance and control, needs to be centralized. Centralized so that people can have central access to all of that information in the cloud. So today's goal is to show you how these silos can be consolidated into a single source of truth. This enhances the effectiveness of the organization and can provide real-time insights to drive accurate decision-making and information flow across the business. Moving to a cloud solution provides immediate access to enterprise scalable infrastructure. Scale up, scale down as required, and enable a truly mobile workforce, whether working from home during the pandemic or whether traveling or working from a trade show. Access to the information that you want when and where you need it. The aspects of cloud that are important to you as a customer are the reduction in IT overhead, the simplification of the processes, the ability to scale and to stay modern. In a cloud infrastructure, updates and upgrades are done automatically, which means that you're always on the latest version of the application. We talk about some of these areas in terms of the consolidation of information into a single platform. So in finance, multi-company, automated financial reporting, BAS, fixed assets, bank feeds, everything you would expect from a modern cloud-based financial application. Accounts receivable and payable, obviously integrated into the application. Inventory management, customer relationship management. So the ability for salespeople to enter their leads, their opportunities, and to manage the customer lifecycle inside the ERP application. Procurement, the ability to have forecasts in the system, to do procurement planning, to run workflow and approvals through the application, totally integrated into financials so that we know what our future commitments in terms of procurement look like. Integrated payroll, project accounting, and integrated workforce management into the solution so that we get a complete picture across employee self-service, across payroll, across workforce management, across multiple entities inside the single application. You can see through this that what we bring together is an enormous amount of information across the organization, so that information flows from purchasing, for example, into inventory receipts, into manufacturing, and then a business intelligence tool can consolidate that information across all aspects of the business. Let's go beyond the functional footprint of modern ERP and look briefly at some of the automated processes. So let's talk about workflow and approvals, the ability to automate processes and workflow for new employees. PO approvals, so the ability to have automated purchase order approvals. Intercompany, if you run multiple ABNs, the ability to run consolidated reporting, to run intercompany transactions at the push of a button. EDI, if you deal with the Australian major retailers, the ability to integrate into those retailers for expediting of orders. Expense management and AP automation, the ability to have OCR so that I can automate expenses and I can automate AP automation for compliance. Reporting and business intelligence, a common theme that we've discussed today is the ability to bring all of this data together and represent it for analytics. Cash collection, automating that process. E-commerce, the ability, particularly in a modern world, for customers to place orders online or review their open statements or invoices online, automatically create a pick inside the warehouse and ship the goods, shortening the quote to cash life cycle and improving customer service. Budgets, the ability to run budget versus actual reporting at any point in time. Consolidating and automating these processes, not just across functionality, but across workflow to provide automation. Modern day reporting on the subject of BI, we touched on this a bit earlier, goes beyond row and column-based static reporting. So what we want today is the ability to analyze large volumes of data from multiple sources, multiple databases in a slice and dice analytical format. We also want the ability for users to create their own dashboards and KPIs. Analytics should be real time across all parts of the business. So financial, sales, suppliers, inventory, across the business, allowing us to report on those data volumes and make informed decisions. So cloud is your strategic advantage in this instance, in that it takes all of these technologies and puts them together, available for small to medium businesses at a fraction of the price that it would previously have required in terms of an investment to make these things happen. When we look at wanting to explore these technologies, and if your business is growing and you're experiencing some of the growing pains we mentioned earlier, then your journey from being a small business to a digital business has already begun. Let's discuss very briefly how you can take this journey further. Implementing a new technology or ERP solution starts with planning, looking at your business requirements, taking into account resource requirements, budget, and of course, keeping in mind the business benefits that you're looking to achieve. At the end of the day, you implement technology not because you want modern technology, you do it because of the business benefits you want to achieve. Improved cash flow, better customer service, and happier team members that can do their jobs better. So we look at these elements and we look at how we can improve through the process. We set these goals at the beginning of the ERP journey. We want to allocate the correct resources to our journey on ERP. It's critically important that both the business implementing ERP and the ERP supplier or vendor allocate the right level of resourcing to the project. Elements like data conversion, report writing, etc., will require the right allocation of resources. We should also appoint an internal project manager who can help manage the project from a customer perspective with your supplier or ERP reseller and implementation team. Be careful of budgets, scope, and timeline. Choose your ERP partner carefully and define your goals. These are just some of the points early on in the journey that will set you up for success as you look to implement ERP. There are multiple ERP implementation processes. Of course, you can have a big bang theory where you're implementing everything together, or you could go for a more phased approach. The phased approach does help with smaller businesses who want to start with a foundation system, a footprint of ERP, and then build out the system over time with the additional functionality that you can then add in later phases. So you start with this core foundation system, and then you build out the additional applications and elements that you want. Several of those elements we spoke about today don't have to be implemented day one. They can be added as your business grows and as you require additional functions and features. Thanks for your time. I'm going to hand you over to Dean, who's going to demonstrate to you MYB Advanced. So a lot of what I've spoken about this morning is this transformation from simple accounting systems through to more robust ERP applications. And Dean's going to demonstrate to you some of those functions and features around business intelligence, data collection, and areas like that we believe can be of major benefit to growing businesses. Dean, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thanks, Brett, and thanks everybody for coming today. It's always good to get people to these sessions and show MYOB Advanced. It's a great solution. So, as Brett alluded to, MYOB Advanced is a pure cloud solution, and it is a heavily dashboard focused. And what you can see on the screen at the moment is a particular dashboard. It's my financial controller dashboard that I've built. And it's got a number of KPI tiles. Now, these KPI tiles are absolutely live, and they can also be sliced and diced by, in this particular database, company or branch. So I've got a number of companies or branches. Brett spoke to the fact that this system is a multi-company, multi-branch system. And as you can see, I've got 6 companies and 7 branches in this particular data set. And I've just updated my dashboard so that it represents the data from a particular branch. And I can quickly update my dashboard so that it represents the data from any other branch or the overall organization. So that gives you the ability to slice and dice data at a dashboard level, and it still maintains the security and privacy rules that have been set up. So if a user doesn't have permission to see that particular element of data, they are blocked from doing so. So really, as we alluded to, MYOB Advanced is a multi-company, multi-branch system, and it's very simple and easy to trade in different companies. You can literally just come to this drop-down and select a different company and a different branch and start creating transactions in that system. The system will also automatically create intercompany transactions and can automate the back-to-back purchasing if you have transactions at arm's length between parts of your business. In terms of the functionality that exists in MYOB Advanced, it really is a suite in a box. It covers off all the major areas that you would expect, and then some. We cover the finance aspects, the fixed assets aspects, people, which in MYOB Advanced language is our payroll. That's fully embedded inside MYOB Advanced and is matched with the workforce management functionality, which adds onboarding, offboarding capability, rostering, time and attendance, and award interpretation, all linking straight into the payroll functionality. So if you have sort of business which has a rostering need or an award interpreted payroll need, MYOB Advanced and workforce management can work together to achieve those aims. Obviously, we have the accounts payable and accounts receivable functionality, which you would expect out of a financial system. But one of the things you wouldn't expect out of a financial system or an ERP specifically is bank feeds. And because this is a MYOB product, it comes with MYOB's great bank feeds functionality. So you get the best of the bank feeds world and you get the best of the ERP world as well. So naturally, we have some nice bells and whistles, such as our deferred revenue capability within the system, which allows you to defer expenses and revenue over an agreed period of time. And the classic example for that is your annual insurance bills, which you defer the expense over 12 months. But you could just as easily set up rules to defer a contract, a prepaid contract revenue stream over an agreed period of time. MYOB is a multi-currency system out of the box, so you can trade in any currency you want. You can have as many rate types as you want, which means I can have a rate type for my daily exchange rate and a rate type for some forwards or futures that I might have purchased. I can have multi-currency bank accounts as well and revalue them back to Australian dollars at a revaluation rate, if that is what your organization needs. Naturally, because MYOB is an ERP, we have full inventory management, sales orders, purchase orders, and all of this functionality links together so that we can have demand created from sales orders and replenishment processes, which recommend inventory replenishments and inventory transfers occurring between multi-warehouses, the multiple warehouses you can have within the system. So a great example, if you're a branch organization, you might have a warehouse in Sydney, a warehouse in Melbourne, and a warehouse in Brisbane, and the system can automatically recommend that some stock be shifted from the Brisbane warehouse to the Melbourne warehouse, for example, because the Melbourne warehouse stock levels have dropped beneath the min levels. We also have, as part of the standard functionality, a very solid project accounting and job cost module, all of which links us back through to the CRM process, so we can start not just job costing quotes, but we can start sales quotes all the way back in the CRM, working from lead to opportunity to quote, and then automatically converting that neatly across into the sales order, and then moving it through the pick, pack, ship, and invoice process. Further to that functionality, we have some great deep manufacturing functionality, which involves multiple routing steps, bills of materials, finite capacity planning, and work center management within the solution. And that includes deep MRP processes, estimate to order processes, and configured component processes or configured product. So the great example of an estimate to order process is you have a standard product, but the customer wants it modified slightly, and you can estimate the cost and the price of that modification and then convert that straight into a production order without needing to create any additional records. Finally, we have a very strong service management functionality, which enables clients to manage and send their staff into the field to do work on customers' equipment or to do work on products that you've sold to customers. That can help manage your warranty. It can help manage your the status of all the components that are out there in the field. So that really helps streamline the MYOB Advanced process. It really takes advantage of the field service applications and the mobile phone applications, because it's all mobile enabled, all of this functionality, and brings everybody into the one system to run their part of the organization operationally through the one platform, which of course fully integrates into the financials and financial reporting. If we're to leap back into the dashboard capability just for a few minutes, just to deep dive into some of the MYOB Advanced dashboard capabilities that exist within the platform, I just want to talk through some of these different elements that you see on the dashboard and explain what you might be able to achieve with them and how they might work for you. So we've also already looked at companies and branches and the ability to slice and dice the data presented on the dashboard by selecting different options. But in more detail, some of these tiles, or these tiles you see here, can be KPI tiles, like this revenue versus last year tile, and you can see it's colored red and has a quite unfortunate downward arrow showing, suggesting that when I look at this this tile, that things are not going to the plan at the moment, or they're not going as well as last year. But that could be revenue versus budget, it could be revenue versus last year, it could be versus last month or last week. It could be sales data, it could be purchasing data, it could be any data that exists within MYOB Advanced can be presented on a dashboard to help you and your team manage the business. Each individual user may have a completely different and separate dashboard that's been designed by them to suit their needs. So these dashboards are actually manageable and editable by end users. You don't need to have special capabilities to do this. So other styles of dashboard are these KPI tiles, such as this gross margin tile. You'll notice when I hover over it, it's got a flag of updated 3 minutes ago, and that's because we can set the update frequency. So this will update, in this case, every 5 minutes, but it could be updating every time you arrive on the page, updating every half an hour, something like that. Further, we can have tiles set up which allow us to create records with this plus button. So straight off from my dashboard, I can create brand new records in the system, whether in this case it's a bank reconciliation, or whether it's some other record like a new sales order or a new purchase order. I can embed company videos on my dashboard. So in this case, I've got a video embedded of the latest upgrades that happened to MYOB Advanced and are being rolled out right now. So you can create videos and then share them on a dashboard to communicate with your clients. You could also show this sort of graphical representation of some data. This is a column style chart, but it could be a pie chart, it could be a bar chart, it could be any style chart that you wanted to use. Finally, Brett talked before about the approvals process within MYOB Advanced, and in this particular dashboard, I have my pending approval showing. The approving person would also get sent an email or an SMS if you chose. And we can drill down into these approvals, review the document that needs to be approved. In this case, they're purchase orders, but they could be purchase orders, they could be leave requests, they could be quotes, they could be projects, they could be all sorts of record types within the system. There you go. These records have been updated. Finally, in terms of bringing everybody in your organization onto the one page and linking all the data together, MYOB Advanced has a concept called tasks, which can be assigned to other members of the team within the system. So these tasks are going to have due dates, just like a task in Outlook or in any other email system. But one of the key differences is they relate to a document in MYOB Advanced. So in this particular case, I've got a task, the summary being there's been a short receipt and I need to go and talk to the purchasing team, and I've set myself a due date to go and do that. It's been assigned to me and it relates back to the receipt. So because all the records are connected in MYOB Advanced, that enables us to really get to the heart of what the question is very quickly in an interconnected way. And of course, if you want to go to more powerful analytics and business intelligence, all of the data that you see here and all of the data that exists in MYOB Advanced can be shared with a business intelligence platform such as Focus BI, Power BI, Click, Tableau, or anything along those lines. Those integrations can be set up on a case-by-case basis, so they're very quick and easy for you to do yourselves. So that covers off, for the most part, what I wanted to talk about today. So if there are no other questions for me, I might hand back over to Brett, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate that. It's a good overview of what's possible inside an ERP application like MYOB Advanced. So we've had a few questions along the way that we've been answering. And I've got one here about cloud ERP and MYOB with regards to APR platforms, functional updates, etc. And specifically as it relates to the likes of Shopify, Magento, and Salesforce. And it's a typical question associated with businesses that potentially are moving from, bricks and mortar into, e-commerce and the e-commerce space and what have you. So a couple of different ways to answer that. Firstly, as a more detailed answer, we'll get in touch with you after this to go through some of the options. But I think you'd agree, Dean, in terms of Shopify, Magento, Salesforce CRM, etc. There are a number of ways to integrate into those platforms, and a number of integration options as well with MYOB Advanced.
Definitely.
Do you want to just talk very briefly about that?
Yeah, so some of those platforms such as Salesforce have out of the box, albeit relatively tightly controlled integrations, and other platforms such as Shopify and Magento typically can be integrated through third-party integration partners. In terms of the heart of the question about how that timing is managed, if you have an integration and MYOB is going to do an upgrade, we will working with you as a partner, we will get a sandbox for you to do some upgrade testing. That sandbox will be upgraded. You can complete that testing to make sure that nothing is going to break, which is especially important if you have a bespoke integration that has been developed for you or by you.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. I think it's, there's a number of different integration points within MYOB Advanced. Some of them are standard, what we would call ISV integration points, and others are developed specifically for the customer. Either way, there's a process in place to manage the updates and the upgrades as they come through from MYOB in the cloud. And it's something that over the past few years has been, it's got to a point where we've been able to almost perfect that process with the ISVs and with the integration work. Okay, I don't believe there are any other questions. So I want to thank people for dialing in today and joining us on the webinar. We're going to be holding monthly webinars on different topics, and this month obviously was small business to digital business, but we want to keep our customers and prospective customers informed about MYOB Advanced and Leverage Technologies and this journey from basic accounting solutions into full ERP and the advantages associated with that. So thank you very much, Dean, for the great presentation. Thank you to everybody for joining in today. I hope you found that useful.